At number 10, we have Dr. Dre and Nicole Young. After 18 months of a legal battle back and forth, rapper and producer Dr. Dre was finally able to finalize his divorce from Nicole Young with a $100 million settlement. Under the terms of the settlement, Nicole would get $50 million immediately and another $50 million in 1 year after. However, Nicole would not be eligible for spousal support, and Nicole would also be able to leave the marriage with all of her jewelry as well as 4 vehicles, which included a Rolls Royce, Range Rover, Escalade, and a Spider motorcycle. Nicole was required to move out of the Malibu beach home that she was currently living in, and she had to pay her own legal fees under the agreement. Dr. Dre, who is worth more than $820 million, will keep a large sum of his wealth, including his master recordings, trademarks, and interest in various partnerships and trust. He also was able to retain all of his Apple stocks, which included all of the proceeds from his sales of Beats by Dre, which Apple bought back in 2014 for $3 billion. The musician was also able to keep 6 of the vehicles and 7 of the couple's properties. Nicole initially filed for divorce in 2020, citing a that led to her PTSD, and Dre has since denied the allegations. At number 9, we have Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. After being married for 27 years, the couple split due to the fact they believed that they couldn't grow as a couple into the next phase of their lives. Now, court documents did show that the two had a private separation agreement in place, but not a prenup. Since the two shared so much of their professional life together, untangling their assets definitely became a complicated process. The couple had several properties, and Bill had a net worth of around $152 billion prior to the divorce, meaning he and Melinda could now each be only worth $76 billion. The couple also shares a handful of luxury planes and cars, and they run their namesake foundation, which is worth more than $40 billion. Now, both have agreed to continue to work together at the foundation as they continue its mission of helping people around the world lead healthy, productive lives. If you're liking this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos. Jeff and Mackenzie's divorce settlement is the largest divorce settlement in history to ever occur. When the divorce settlement was made official, Jeff had to hand over a 4% stake in Amazon, and he also had to transfer Amazon shares worth $38 billion into Mackenzie's name. Now, Mackenzie is an author, and she's now become the 4th richest woman and has already promised to give away at least half of her fortune. Now, despite handing over a vast sum of money, Jeff will still remain the world's richest individual with a $118 billion fortune. He has also given $2 billion of his wealth to Bezos' Day One fund to help address homelessness and improve education for children in low-income families. Jeff also congratulated his former wife in a tweet, linking her given pledge letter, which encourages the world's richest people to commit to giving away at least half of their wealth to charity. At number 7, we have Paul McCartney and Heather Mills. Now, Paul McCartney's divorce to Heather Mills cost him $48.7 million. The couple would call it quits in 2006, however their divorce wasn't complete until 2008, and once they finalized their divorce, it came to a hefty penny for Paul. When all was said and done, Paul would have to pay Heather $48.7 million, and on top of that, Heather would receive $70,000 a year for child support, which would later leave Paul to this day to say that his marriage to Heather was the biggest regret of his life. Ouch. To make matters worse, the media was constantly getting involved, and in 2007, while Heather was trying to speak at a charity campaign fundraiser, a reporter asked her if she was the woman that took Paul's money. At number 6, we have Mel Gibson and Robin Moore. In 2006, Robin decided to separate from her husband Mel after Mel was caught driving under the influence. At the time, Mel and Robin didn't have a prenup agreement, which meant she was entitled to walk away with at least half of his earnings that he made in the last 30 years they were married. With Mel's net worth being only $850 million at the time, Robin would be entitled to receive about $425 million. In addition, she would also pick up 50% of the pension benefits that Mel built up during the 31 years of marriage. During this settlement, it outlined his ex-wife would also get half of his film rights, and she was entitled to a split of his Directors Guild of America pension and half of the benefits he accumulated through their production company. At number 5, we have Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen. Now, Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen had a bumpy marriage, and Denise decided to pull the plug on their marriage when she was only a few months pregnant with the couple's second child. In 2006, their divorce was finalized, however, the couple hadn't signed a prenup. Considering Charlie appeared on 2.5 Men, making millions during their marriage, Charlie would be responsible to pay 50% of the earnings and assets made from their marriage. However, Denise has claimed that she never saw any of the sitcom money, and Charlie has over $450,000 in unpaid child support. According to several inside sources, Charlie pays Denise $80,000 to cover the cost of their two daughters, and he also pays the same amount to his other ex-wife, Brooke Mueller, for their two children. However, Charlie's once $220 million net worth is no longer in the state it was, and most of it went towards his risk behavior rather than to his spouses and children. At number 4, we have James Cameron and Linda Hamilton. After being married for 18 months, James and Linda decided to call off their marriage, and their divorce would cost James a hefty penny. Now, Linda would come forward to say that she and James had decided to split due to James having an affair with an actor from the Titanic, while James was a film producer on the set. The love triangle would ultimately dissolve James's and Linda's marriage, and in 1999 the couple's divorce would be finalized and Linda would receive $50 million in a settlement. At number 3, we have Harrison Ford and Melissa Matheson. Now, Harrison Ford and Melissa have been divorced now for 2 decades. However, their divorce still remains one of Hollywood's most expensive divorces. Now, the couple decided to part ways ultimately because they thought that the absence would make their hearts grow fonder for each other. And after being married for 21 years, Melissa would file for a divorce in 2001. Since the couple never arranged a prenup agreement when they wed, there was a 3-year-long battle before they were able to reach a settlement. In 2004, Melissa would be awarded $85 million, and she would also be able to receive part of Harrison's future earnings from Indiana Jones and The Fugitive sales. At number 2, we have Adele and Simon Kanucki. Now, Adele and Simon's divorce had to be one of the messiest and unfair divorces Hollywood has ever seen for a while. Who can forget that photo of Adele screaming at Simon in tears when he took almost all of her money? When Adele finalized her divorce from Simon, she would have to pay the CEO a settlement of $140 million out of her $190 million net worth. Of course, when this news came to light, a lot of men were stoked at the prospect of Adele having to hand over $100 million and said Simon deserved the large amount. However, considering women are still paid less than men in most workplace settings, the fact that Adele had to fork over 2/3 of her hard-earned fortune is insane. What Adele's divorce has taught us is that no money is ever safe in a marriage. If you're a celebrity or a billionaire and you're thinking about getting married, make sure you get that prenup ready. At number 1, we have Princess Diana and King Charles. Now, it's no lie that Diana lost a lot when her time as a royal came to an end. When the royal marriage dissolved, it's clear that even princesses don't always have their fairy tale ending. After the two announced their separation in 1992, Queen Elizabeth would strip Diana's royal titles at the behalf of Charles' insistence, and Diana would then need to curtsy to anybody in the royal family, and this included her sons. Despite losing her royal title, Diana did gain some money. Now, neither side officially disclosed details of anything Diana would get. However, a newspaper would later leak that Diana would receive $22.5 million plus another $600,000 salary a year to pay for her private office.
Number 10. Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. When Chris Pratt and Anna Faris decided to announce their split after 8 years of being married, they shocked the world as this fairy tale romance came to an abrupt end. With the couple finalizing their divorce in October of 2018, Chris hinted in social media posts that the two haven't been happy for quite some time. As he said, "Anna and I are sad to announce we are legally separating. We tried hard for a long time and we were really disappointed. Our son has 2 parents who love him very much, and for his sake, we want to keep this situation as private as possible moving forward. We still have love for each other and will always cherish our time together and continue to have the deepest respect for one another." Ending things on a mutual note, both Chris and Anna have been able to remain on good terms and they continue to be great co-parents together. And friends, before we move on to this next spot on the list, let us know which divorce in the celebrity world completely shook your brain and you still are not over it down in the comments. Number 9. Jenna Dewan and Channing Tatum. Not so friendly exes Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan went from being Hollywood's it couple to divorced parents, and they haven't made it easy for others to determine whether or not they're on good terms with one another. The two actors began dating back in 2006 when they met on their movie set Step Up. By July of 2009, they tied the knot and began to grow their family, welcoming their first daughter in May of 2013. While the pair became a beloved celebrity couple by many, Jenna admitted in February of 2018 that the pair have struggled with their relationship like anyone else. She admitted admitted they were not perfect and they had their fair share of disagreements. By April of 2018, the couple announced their split in a joint statement saying, "We have lovingly chosen to separate as a couple. We fell deeply in love so many years ago and have had a magical journey together." The couple then went on to say they were moving on different paths and ultimately decided it was best to be friends for the time being. Since the divorce, the exes have been co-parenting great together, and there seems to be no drama between them, at least for now. Number 8. Liam Hemsworth and Miley Cyrus. Cyrus and Hemsworth both started seeing each other in 2008 when the pair met on the set of The Last Song. The pair then dated off and on before tying the knot in December of 2018, just after the wildfire destroyed their home in Malibu. In court documents obtained by E! News, Miley cited irreconcilable differences behind the reason for the actors' split. However, a month before their divorce was finalized, Miley opened up about why their relationship didn't last. According to Cyrus, the two only got married due to the trauma of losing their Malibu home in a fire. She went on to note that the two had been together since they were 16, and when their home burnt down, they felt like they had to get engaged. She added, "I just clung to what I had left of the house, which was me and him." Before ending the interview, Miley also noted that Liam and her had too much conflict, which led to the pair's split. Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Just as Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie began with a bang on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, their marriage abruptly dissolved in the same manner. The longtime couple got engaged in 2012 and then got married in 2014 at their French chateau. However, after 11 years of being together, the couple decided to split for the health of their family. Pitt then released his own statement saying he was very saddened by the matter, and the only thing that mattered now was the well-being of the couple's children. On September 19th of 2016, Jolie filed divorce papers citing irreconcilable differences and requesting sole physical custody of their 6 children. As soon as the news broke, it didn't take long for gifs and memes to flood the internet. Stars were also quick to chime in. Chrissy Teigen tweeted, "Brad and Angelina, how am I supposed to go to work today?" Adele even dedicated her NYC concert to the former couple by saying, "I need to address the elephant in the room, but it's the end of an era." Since announcing the divorce, Angelina has made some pretty serious claims against Brad Pitt, and Brad has stayed pretty quiet on the matter. As the couple first stated to keep things between their divorce private, this turned out to not be the case, as the divorce has since been smeared across the tabloids since 2016, as the two have since yet to finalize matters officially. Number 6. Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. On November 25th, 2020, Megan Fox filed for divorce from Brian Austin Green. At the time, she claimed the two have been separated since November of 2019. After being married for 10 years, the actress ultimately decided to file for divorce, as it was a decision that was a long time coming, especially now that she was in a relationship with MGK. Kelly and Fox met on the film Midnight in the Switchgrass in 2019. In court papers, Megan asked for joint legal and physical custody of her and Green's sons. She also asked to terminate the ability for either her or Green to seek spousal support. However, even though Green agreed to the custody request, he still wanted spousal support to be a possibility. With Fox moving on and looking forward to her future with MGK, Brian has had a lot to say about the matter, even claiming that Megan has been an absent mother in her kids' lives. Hopefully these two can put their differences aside for their children's sake. Number 5. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. Back in 2012, former power couple Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes announced to the world they were getting divorced after 6 years of marriage. Now, this split was shocking to everyone throughout the world of show business, and it sparked many rumors and speculations as to why the couple split. One of the biggest rumors of the pair's divorce was that Katie wanted to remove herself and their daughter Suri from any involvement with the Church of Scientology. Cruise then later confirms that the reason his ex-wife filed for divorce came down to the controversial religion itself. With Cruise and Holmes divorced, Holmes was awarded sole custody of Suri, and reportedly that included an ironclad ruling that Suri would not be exposed to anything Scientology related. Number 4. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Married for only 15 months, the world was shocked when Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp in May of 2016. But what shocked the world even more was the claims that led to the divorce. Depp's and Heard's marriage has been swept across the tabloids since 2016, and one of the most recent trials to highlight the whole relationship would be Johnny Depp's defamation trial. While both stars played a huge part in why their relationship didn't work out, following events later to come to light would leave the world shaken with disbelief. Just after Heard filed for divorce, she placed a temporary restraining order on Depp, claiming that the two had gotten into an altercation. When the order expired, the couple was finally able to reach an agreement in August of 2016. Heard announced she would donate her $7 million divorce settlement to charities. Their divorce was then finalized in January of 2017. 2018. The two have since been in heated court cases that don't seem to be ending anytime soon. Number 3. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. After being married for nearly 7 years, Kim Kardashian officially filed divorce from her husband on February 19, 2021. On June 3, 2021, in an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim opened up about the split from rapper Kanye West. After confronting the situation with her family, her sister Khloe then went on to note that Kim had been struggling privately behind the camera with her relationship. In now seen footage, you could see Kim crying as she says she can't do this anymore and that she has felt like she's been stuck in the relationship for years and can't understand why. The star then goes on to note that Kanye deserves someone that can go support his every move and go follow him all over the place and move to Wyoming. I can't do that and I feel like a failure in my third marriage. It was sad to see Kim felt her relationship was moving in different directions and that she couldn't really do anything. Since the pair's split, Kanye and her have hit headlines as they continue to disagree over certain aspects revolving around their lives. Number 2. Kris and Caitlyn Jenner. After being married for more than 2 decades, the momager Kris Jenner and 1976 Olympic gold medalist Caitlyn Jenner announced in late 2013 that they have been living apart for a year and they were officially filing for a divorce. At the time, many fans were quick to note that it looked like the pair split ultimately due to the fact that Caitlyn began opening up about her identity and transitioned to Caitlyn Jenner. However, Caitlyn squashed the rumors when she came to say, after 23 years, Kris and I went our separate directions. My identity, it was not a big part of us separating. There were so many other bigger issues out there. She claimed that her transition caused her to be more short-wired with Kris, and that it was that reason that caused their marriage to fail. Since the two's divorce, Kris has been really supportive to Caitlyn, and the pair support each other unconditionally. Number 1. Russell Brand and Katy Perry. Love at first sight. Back in September of 2009, it said that Russell Brand and Katy Perry hit it off while rehearsing for the MTV Video Music Awards. They soon started dating, and Russell popped the question on New Year's Eve during a trip to India. In October of 2010, the couple had a traditional Hindu wedding, also in India. Then the couple came to the quick realization they had different priorities in life. Documented in Katy Perry's documentary, Part of Me, the star was on her California Dreams tour, which caused the two to clash. While on tour, Katy received a text message where Russell told the pop star that he was filing for divorce. As Katy's world began to crumble beneath her feet, she was able to hold it together for her fans and complete the tour. Since the divorce, both have moved on, with Brand marrying Laura Gallagher and Perry marrying Orlando Bloom.
At number 10, we have Meghan Markle and Princess Diana's similarities. People can't help but compare Meghan to her late mother-in-law. Their progressive viewpoints and the public's opinions of them align, and people worry that she could have a similar fate. It didn't help that just a couple of weeks ago, it was reported that after attending a charity event in New York, Prince Harry, Meghan, and Meghan's mother Doria were in a car chase. Similar to Princess Diana's tragic accident, they were chased by paparazzi. There were claims that the chase lasted 2 hours, but the police officers that helped the royal family security didn't mention anything about a car chase. As it turns out, this was an over-exaggerated version of what really happened. While they were hounded by paparazzi, there was no car chase. All three made it to their destination safe and sound, as there was no evidence showing that they were participants in an adrenaline-fueled car ride. People criticized the royal family for making it seem worse than it really was, as it was described as nearly catastrophic. One of their drivers said it wasn't a car chase and that he never felt like he was in any danger. He did say the family seemed quiet and scared in the car, but nothing big really happened. Next, we have their potential divorce. People started assuming that divorce was on the table when it was rumored that they were growing more distant from each other. Once at a Lakers game, they were set up for the kiss cam segment, but Meghan moved away when Prince Harry went in for a kiss. This doesn't actually mean anything because she probably isn't very big on PDA in the first place. If you think about it, how often do you see a picture of the two kissing? Exactly. While people were assuming the worst, others were defending her actions, saying that it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad is happening between them. Then there were rumors of Harry staying at the luxurious San Vincent bungalows whenever he needed space for Meghan. These claims were immediately shut down by his reps, but sources were incessant that he did so when they fought and he wanted to escape the house. These are big claims coming from unverified sources. As an extremely elite and exclusive club hotel, they don't disclose who stays on their properties, so there's no way of finding out if Prince Harry was ever a guest there to begin with. Next on the list, we have how she didn't want to attend the coronation. Meghan and their 2 kids were not present for King Charles' coronation. People assumed there was drama and bad blood and Meghan should be the bigger person and go anyways. They thought Harry was hurt and offended that she wouldn't attend this monumental event for his father. Clearly isn't the case, as you have to remember that the couple agreed to stay away from their royal duties 3 years ago. Sure, would it have been nice to attend? Why not? But things have always been weird when it came to her and her royal in-laws. Maybe she avoided it altogether to avoid any potential exaggerated headlines, especially with her children by her side. And that's another thing. It was her son's birthday the same day, and that's obviously a priority too. Despite her clear absence, people began theorizing that she actually did show up, but in disguise. It was mostly a joke, but there were claims that Welsh composer Sir Carl Jenkins was just Meghan in costume. Next, at number 7, we have King Charles' coronation. So yes, Prince Harry attended his father's coronation solo. He was seen at the Buckingham Palace balcony along with his brother William and the rest of the royal family. He was actually sitting away from his immediate family members during the procession. This decision was obviously due to the fact that he and Meghan walked away from their royal duties, so he was no longer necessary to actively participate in it. But King Charles is still his father, so of course he showed up. People thought he was upset that Meghan and the kids didn't go with him, but people also love creating narratives to fit their fantasies. What if he didn't want to go either and he just did it out of obligation? I doubt it, but if we're gonna throw stories around, then why not? It's not like he was the odd one out, but he kind of was, as it was weird to see a prince apart from the other royal members. He wasn't even seated at the front row. He was given a seat at the 3rd row and several seats away from his brother. It was later reported that after the ceremony, he didn't even stay for any celebration and went straight to the airport. During post-ceremony celebrations at the Buckingham Palace, where the rest of his family were, Prince Harry was already checking into his flight back to his other family. Next on the list, we have Samantha Markle's defamation case. Meghan's half-sister, Samantha, filed a lawsuit against her under baseless claims rooted in unverified speculation and conjecture. After the release of the book Finding Freedom, an unauthorized biography written about Meghan and Harry, there was a particular chapter that she didn't like. It was called A Problem Like Samantha, and that alone obviously got her attention. Aside from the book, she also said that Meghan made more defamatory comments during the infamous Oprah interview. She brought up how Meghan said, "I grew up as an only child, which everyone who grew up around me knows, and I wish I had siblings." And she seemed personally offended by that. She also said Meghan's comments in the book and in the media caused irreparable injury and harm to her reputation, as well as anxiety and emotional distress. Apparently, as a result, she also received tons of hate mail, poor media representation, and one stalker. Unfortunately for her, she did not win the case, as the judge dismissed it, claiming the evidence was not enough to prove that Meghan had the book published herself. Next, we have how she made him cut ties with his family. 3 years ago, Harry and Meghan announced they would be officially stepping down from their royal duties effective immediately. In their written public statement, they said they will obviously still be living and supporting the crown and will be splitting their time between the UK and living in California. It seems like it was a mutual agreement and not one based on Meghan herself. This alone shows how devoted Harry is to her and their truth, because the fact he's balancing this all with his reputation and his duties as Prince Harry, that's real love. During the press conference regarding the announcement, he wanted to make it clear that this transition did not mean they'd be walking away from their duties altogether. He was hoping to continue onward with it without public funding, but found that it wasn't an option. He also said, "I've accepted this knowing that it doesn't change who I am or how committed I am, but I hope that helps you understand what it had to come to, that I would step my family back from all I have ever known to take a step forward into what I can hope can be a more peaceful life." Queen Elizabeth later released her own statement sharing her and the family's support for their couple and their choice to live independently from the crown. At number 4, we have security issues. Because of this decision to live independently from the royal family, Harry was more than willing to pay for his family's own security when traveling to the UK. But for some reason, this wasn't allowed. In a statement written by the UK's executive committee, they wrote, "It was not appropriate to support an outcome whereby wealthy individuals could buy protective security from specialist police officers, potentially including armed officers. They were saying it affects public interest because it's publicly funded. I hope that makes sense to you because I still don't get it. If you think about it, it's kind of dumb. Harry is battling it out with the UK High Court because he wants to pay for security, as in give them money in exchange of their services, and they won't let him. It seems he's lost and they're still in talks of how to go about it. If they're offering him free security and he doesn't want to accept it out of obligation to the whole living independently thing, I think he should just take it. Their safety is top priority at this point. Next on the list we have Prince Harry's hacker. Harry and Meghan's marriage is so publicized, people will do anything to get their hands on the nitty-gritty details for the next biggest headline. There was often blame put on Meghan that they go through so much and he shouldn't be willing to go through this extra mile for her. Regardless who Harry ended up with, the aftermath would still be the same, as he's been hounded by paparazzi and nasty articles all his life. In 2019, he sued the newspaper company The Mirror for phone hacking after they revealed very personal experiences of his life that no one should have ever found out about. These stories were specifically from 1995 to 2011, and they managed to get information about his family, their relationship, his time in the military, and even stuff about his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davy. The newspaper's representatives said they once hired a private investigator to gain intel, and other methods were done within the law. Harry did lose the case with lack of evidence, but he did receive an apology from them and other local publishing companies. At number 2, we have how their relationship is always serious. So why would anyone want to be in a boring relationship? People think that just because of their status and all the drama that comes with marrying into royalty, there's no time for joy. They have their responsibilities, but they have fun too sometimes. Remember that Lakers game I mentioned earlier? That was actually a date because why else would they go to it? They were spotted in the arena, and like many celebrities, their presence was captured and made known to the rest of the audience. They were shown on the Jumbotrons, they were part of the evening's kiss cam, and that's all there was to it. A few months ago, they attended a charity gala where they were awarded an award for their philanthropy. On stage, Harry made a joke about how he thought they were there for a date night. Then he turned to the audience and said, "We don't get out much because our kids are so small and young, so this is completely unexpected. It's nice to share date night with all of you. Thank you for coming." Meghan joined in on the joke and thanked him for taking her out, and this just goes to show that their marriage isn't all formal and interviews. They can have fun too. And finally, at number 1, we have his father-in-law. Meghan and her father's relationship was a constant debate. She would describe their relationship as strained, while others on his side of the family said they were close. Nonetheless, Thomas Markle made headlines when he was caught staging photos for the paparazzi. He was famous by association and was willing to participate in this odd photo shoot for the British press. CCTV footage at an internet cafe caught Thomas meeting up with his photographer Jeff Rayner. One of the photos included candid shots of him looking at a picture of Meghan and his son-in-law. Who would even use that picture? It's so obviously staged. It's unclear if he was paid for this or not, but some of the photos were sold for up to £100,000, so I wouldn't be surprised if they promised him a cut of their profits. Later, he did sue Jeff and his media company for publishing photos without his approval, which apparently went against their signed contract. So with all this, is marrying into royalty really worth it? Seems like they're constantly battling it out with the media to uphold their version of their fairy tale ending.
Starting off our listing in the number 10 spot, we have Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth. When Miley released her new album, Endless Summer Vacation, some of her fans started to think that the album's lyrics contained cheating allegations against her ex-husband Liam Hemsworth. With both Liam and Miley first meeting in 2009 when they were both filming on the set of the last song, by December of 2018 they would finally tie the knot, and after being in an on and off again relationship for years, after they both split in 2019. When fans began listening to Miley Cyrus's new song Muddy Feet, they were quick to link the track's lyrics to Miley and Liam's relationship, in which Miley sings about smelling perfume that doesn't belong to her on her partner. When she sings, "And you smell like perfume I didn't purchase. Now I know why you've been closing the curtains. Get the F out of my house. I don't know who the hell you think you are messing with. Get the F out of my house with that stuff. Get the F out of my life with that." The pointed track would come just 2 months after Miley released her first single off the album called Flowers, which she also sparked buzz among fans, as it was a dig at Hemsworth and proved that Liam did in fact cheat on the singer with Jennifer Lawrence, and it also went on to highlight the couple's marriage and that it was everything but perfect. and she never was the bad guy like Liam's family painted her to be. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. If you think a lot has happened since season 2 of The Kardashians, Kim Kardashian agrees. As in the first trailer for The Kardashians season 3, the mom of 4 can be heard saying, "I don't even know where we left off." When the producer reminds her that last season the Skims founder was dating Pete Davidson, she would then say, "Things changed really quickly." The trailer then took a sad turn after Khloe Kardashian asked Kim if she's feeling okay about everything, and this is where we can see Kim Kardashian breaking down when she says, "No, I'm not okay, I'm having such a hard day today." Amid Kim's divorce from Kanye West, her mother Kris Jenner can even seen being telling her daughter, saying that she has the weight of the world on her shoulders. Later, Kim can even be seen talking about what Kanye had to say about their kids being on social media during their heated divorce, when she said it was the most insane narrative and she was trying just to stay silent through all of the lies for her kids' sake. With season 3 premiering on Hulu May 25th, we know there's about to be some more drama to come with Kim and Kanye's dark divorce, and you can expect us to keep you all up to date on it. Hey everyone, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. And trust me, you definitely want to tune into the next video. Coming in at the number 8 spot, we have Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. When Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise finally got divorced after being married for 5 years, fans would be shocked to learn that she made a decision to leave her ex-husband because she had reason to fear for her life and her daughter's life. With Tom being heavily involved in the controversial religion Scientology, he has been a well-devoted member of the church. With the Church of Scientology being known for treating defectors with intimidation and brainwashing techniques, when Katie finally realized what the church was doing to her and her daughter, she knew she had to get away. So in order to do so, she immediately went into hiding when the news of their split broke. Katie had to do so because she couldn't let anyone know, including Tom, where she was going, because she had to get out and stay safe. The matter would be resolved in 11 days and Katie would be granted physical custody of the couple's former daughter, and it would even be stated that Tom couldn't bring their daughter anywhere near the church, and Katie wouldn't be allowed to have any public relationships for 5 years as Tom was scared it would embarrass him. But it makes you wonder what the church did that scared Katie so much. Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. When Brad Pitt starred with Marion Cotillard in the drama Allied in 2016, rumors began circulating online, and in them they would claim that Brad was cheating on Angelina Jolie with his co-star. Of course, as many would remember in the past, the same rumor also plagued Brad when he was married to Jennifer Aniston. As when he was working on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the tabloids kept claiming that he was cheating on Jennifer Aniston with Angelina Jolie. With the rumors reaching a fever pitch, this is when we would see Angelina Jolie file for divorce from her ex-husband Brad Pitt on September 16th, 2019. But the truth would become so much darker than that. With the story honestly being a speculation as it follows, it is also alleged that the couple's relationship would come to an end after Brad was under the influence on a private plane with his family, and during an argument with Angelina when his adopted son stepped in to defend his mother, Angelina Jolie would claim that Brad actually struck him. And just 5 days later, Angelina would then file for a divorce, but that's not all. The Los Angeles Department of Child and Family Services and the FBI would then be called in to investigate the matter. Pitt would ultimately be cleared, but a long custody battle would end with a heartbreaking ending while Brad and Angelina agreed to share custody of their 6 kids, and Brad and his son have now remained estranged. Number 6. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. During Johnny Depp's and Amber Heard's bitter court battles, things got a little heated for both the stars, and their darkest secrets would be revealed within their messy feud. Shortly after Amber filed for divorce in May of 2016, just 15 months after her marriage came to an end, Amber would accuse Depp of getting into a physical argument with her, and she went on to obtain a temporary restraining order against him. The actress also initially requested that she should be given spousal support from Johnny, but later withdrew her appeal. Johnny and his lawyers have since denied Amber's claims, even after the two finalized their divorce back in 2022. The duo would also enter into a highly publicized defamation trial where they would accuse each other of some pretty gruesome claims. However, at the end of the day, the jury ultimately ruled in favor of Depp and then ordered Amber to pay her ex-husband $15 million in damages after they found and proved she acted with malice to ruin Johnny's career. After the jury's findings, they also did determine that Depp's attorney did make one defamatory statement about Amber, and she would be awarded $2 million in compensation situation. But the whole trial didn't exactly paint Amber to be the person she was trying to make the world believe she was. Number 5. Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian. Kris Jenner definitely proved she hasn't always chosen the right path when it comes to her love life. And in the wake of her separation from Caitlyn Jenner, Kris Jenner would state that the only regret she had in her life was the fact that she got divorced from her first husband, Robert Kardashian, back in 1991. Kris would then later talk about her marriage to Robert when she decided to publish a memoir. And in the memoir, she would reveal that her marriage only came crashing down after she decided to have an affair with her husband and their good family friend, Todd Waterman, while she was still married to Robert. Now, you would think that the affair would have been her biggest regret in life, but at the end of the day, she really just regrets that she wasn't able to end up with Robert before he passed away in 2003. Later, the star would also admit that if she didn't cheat, she would have never gotten with Caitlyn Jenner and gave birth to her two beautiful daughters, Kylie and Kendall. While she looked at it through that lens, she would then realize that she doesn't really have a lot of regrets when it comes to her life, except for cheating on her late ex-husband. Number 4. James Cameron and Linda Hamilton. James Cameron's ex-wife, Linda Hamilton, has always described James as being a man married to his job. That was until he was gone and got married to somebody else. While James Cameron's 1997 film Titanic sunk his own relationship, his fourth wife, Linda Hamilton, once came out to shade James from the Titanic film point of view when she said, "The Titanic was the mistress he left me for." The Terminator star then went on to describe every year she was married to the director as being one of the most terrible things to happen on almost every level. She also claimed that James was also consumed so much by his work almost every day with his cinematic Leviathan. In the 90s, during the couple's former divorce settlement, Linda would also be able to walk away with a $50 million settlement, and it would be described as being one of Hollywood's biggest divorce settlements that Hollywood has ever seen at this time. James then went on to get married quickly to his actual human mistress, who happened to be the Titanic actress Susie Amiz. Number 3. Alec Baldwin and Kate Basinger. After Alec Baldwin and his ex-wife Kim Basinger finally got divorced, their custody battle would go on over their daughter Ireland for years to come. Eventually, an infamous voicemail would then start to be leaked all over media sites after Alec could be seen calling his daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, a rude and thoughtless pig. While the voicemail definitely went on to paint a not so pleasing picture of Alec, it really started to show how he treated his family. By 2008, the former couple's divorce would then be filed with hundreds of legal documents, 91 court proceedings, and approximately $3 million in legal fees. And things will remain pretty heated between the two. But it wasn't really shocking, as how could you say such hurtful things about your own child? But more than a decade later, in 2016, Kim would reveal that things between her and her ex finally cooled down as the pair noticed that they had to be better co-parents for their daughter, as their feud was affecting her negatively. But thank goodness they came to that thought. Number 2. Princess Diana and Prince Charles. Princess Diana's marriage to Prince Charles was extremely strained, and when the media began reporting about both of their infidelities, Queen Elizabeth once even had to write them a letter where she gave them one chilling demand. When the Queen urged both Diana and Charles to get a divorce, by August of 1996, her will would be done, as the young couple went their separate ways after a notorious stressful marriage. However, things would become even darker, as after Charles and Diana finally finalized their divorce, Diana would be stripped of her Royal Highness status, so the family could make a mockery out of her. This meant that she would have to curtsy to those who had it, including her own children. Later, Diana would pass away in a mysterious car crash after she started to leak royal secrets to the press. And since her passing has many conspiracy theories that all point fingers at the royal family, as they claim, but seriously, the fact she knew she was going to pass away in a car crash just weeks before it happened is a pretty unsettling thought. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Madonna and Guy Ritchie. Madonna and director Guy Ritchie had a pretty interesting 8-year marriage, to say at least. When the former couple's marriage came to an end in 2008, the Material Girl singer even had to pay Ritchie $92 million in a settlement, and their divorce divorce is still highlighted to be one of the world's biggest divorce payouts to this day in Hollywood history. And if the couple's split couldn't get any more messier, this is when Madonna's lawyers also started to accuse Richie of being verbally incorrect, as he couldn't stop calling Madonna a granny. While Richie's lawyers have also gone on to accuse Madonna of being emotionally controlling, the world would soon come to know that it isn't really easy to date Madonna, as she rarely allowed her husband to eat meat and she never let him host his friends at their home. With the two having such a complicated relationship, maybe it isn't exactly a tragedy that they both split up. Cheating is never right no matter what the situation is, and if you're having doubts about your partner, have a conversation with them instead of hurting them.
At number 10, we have former acting couple Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. The questionable age gap at the time of their relationship was already convincing enough for many to believe that their marriage would not make it to the end of time. The two met back when Demi was 25 and Ashton was 41, but the older star had 3 children closer in age to him than Demi was. With this fact in mind, there were also rumors of infidelity on his part and opening up their relationship to others that certainly did not help keep their marriage afloat. It's been reported by various sources that the most surprising outcome of the marriage ending is just how long it took for them to call it quits. Yikes. At number 9, we have another acting twosome who announced they were splitting yet again, at no real surprise for fans. Apparently, the ex-spouses were having an insane amount of marital issues for years before their separation. Alongside rumors of infidelity in their relationship, there were also apparently the tripling up of Ben's gambling and drinking problems. It probably didn't save their situation once Ben announced in his 2013 Oscar speech how he and Jennifer were working on their marriage at that point. Surely you may not all be that shocked to know, with all that information, that the two revealed the end of their marriage in 2015. At number 8, we have actress Gwyneth Paltrow and English singer-songwriter Chris Martin, who didn't make the public announcement that they decided to separate until 2014, following 10 whole years of marriage. There were very obvious signs between them that indicated they might not have been seeing a long future together, and it seems fans were undoubtedly right on the money. Not one of them was caught off guard due to the fact that they would not pose together on red carpets nor discuss one another in interviews they gave prior. In fact, when Gwyneth discussed her marriage in interviews, it was only to explain how hard it was for her to be married. Reportedly, there were cheating rumors involved with them, and they were broadcasted as another Hollywood couple with an open marriage. Regardless, the very obvious signs that things were donezo were clearly written in the stars long before the divorce papers were signed, stamped, and finalized. At number 7, we have actor Tom Cruise and actress Katie Holmes. Now, these two were somewhat of a wreck just waiting to happen, according to just about everybody. As soon as they went public with their love back in 2005, the public was already expecting a breakup to take place between the two of them. It was said to be mainly due to their age difference, but there were also loads of smaller issues that most likely played a huge part in their romantic demise. For one, Tom was 14 years Katie's senior, and there was the biggest and probably least surprising Scientology mess. Where Katie was brought up as a Catholic, Tom was heavily devoted to the practice of Scientology, which has its own slew of bad rumors and unethical practices and brainwashing techniques attached to its name. Then there was the fact that both Tom and Katie were at two very different places in their career at the time, which inevitably doomed their relationship from the get-go. Where Tom was a megastar hitting all the biggest screens, Katie was just up and coming as an actress. Surprisingly enough, their marriage remained intact for 6 whole years, but on the opposite end, no one was quite shocked to see it go. At number 6, we have former lovebirds from the 2nd season of the reality series Love is Blind. Featured stars Danielle Rule and Nick Thompson are reportedly calling their marriage quit after a single year of being together. According to news sources that were scoped from multiple online documents, Danielle filed for divorce in Illinois on August 15th at the Cook County Circuit Court. The once seemingly happy duo met and fell in love on Netflix's dating show and went on to tie the knot in June 2021. Their season finale wedding was featured in the show, which was released in February of this year. However, they haven't publicly confirmed their split when news sources originally made the discovery and began publishing their stories. More so, Danielle is still listed as a Thompson in her Instagram bio and handle. On June 8th, the couple posted sweet tributes on Instagram to mark the celebration of their 1-year wedding anniversary, so things seemed okay at that time. In fact, Nick's post featured an image of him and Danielle at their wedding, with an explanation that although marriages broadcasted on TV are tough, he and Danielle are, quote, putting in the work to get to know each other and learn how to be partners for one another. The former spouses were the only pair of the two couples on season 2 of Love is Blind to end up tying the knot, as the opposite duo Ayana and Jarrett announced their plans to divorce just a few days after Danielle filed for her own separation paperwork, ironically enough. Many LIB fans were initially disappointed to know that these couples broke up, as season 1 couples Lauren and Cameron and Amber and Matthew are still together to this day. At number 5, we have the queen of pop Britney Spears and her ex-husband Kevin Federline. I think it's safe to say that once Britney first made the announcement that she would be walking down the aisle with her former backup dancer turned lover, the world seemingly knew they'd be a disaster waiting to crash. But people were surprised when Britney and Kevin began having children together. Still, fans were wickedly anticipating a divorce announcement from Britney and Kevin at the time. Their relationship lasted a brief 2 years before Britney apparently blindsided Kevin with her filing for divorce. However, supporters of the pop star weren't nearly as disturbed by it, of course. At number 4, we have previous Keeping Up with the Kardashian love stars Kris Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner, who formerly went by Bruce Jenner back when they were married. One thing I can tell you for sure is that at the beginning, their relationship seemed picture perfect. They had the typical solid match made in heaven type of romance, apparently, but this soon changed as Kris began growing more and more successful with their family becoming just as famous. This is where Kris and the previously Bruce's relationship would experience major change. By the time the reality show hit its 4th season, it appeared Kris and Caitlyn couldn't really stand to be around each other. However, in probably the most surprising feat on today's list, both reality stars managed to make it all the way to season 8 before they finally put a wrap on their marriage. Still, this one was deemed by fans worldwide to be a marriage destined for failure for a long time coming. At number 3, we have comedian John Mulaney and his ex-wife and artist Anne-Marie Tendler. The couple shared a 6-year-long relationship and a dog prior to the end of their romantic ties. John would very frequently make jokes regarding their relationship during his comedy stand-up routines, including one in 2018 where he referred to Anne as a dynamite female dog during his Kid Gorgeous special. We'll never know if the jokes on top of the other BS became too much for Anne in the end, but the pair officially headed for Splitsville in July. Their divorce announcement followed a few short months after John was admitted into rehab for substance abuse back in December 2020. After this, he would go on to date actress Olivia Munn, where he continued to stir up relationship news drama. The most shocking thing for fans of Olivia and John was the announcement of their then soon-to-be welcome child, born in November 2021. John has headlined just about every pop culture news outlet you can think of nowadays for the way he broke things off with Anne. At number 2, we have formerly married twosome Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. These two public icons are very heavily part of Hollywood's former it couples because everybody loved them. However, even with this, it seems that there were a few fans who weren't all that surprised by their eventual separation. In 2018, their divorce was announced from the original marriage in 2009, and Anna has been vocal about feeling as if she was forced to split with Chris after 8 years of marriage, but she has since re-fallen in love with cinematographer Michael Barrett. Chris is currently married to Hollywood royalty Catherine Schwarzenegger. Still, Anna and Chris first met during a 2007 table read where they're sharing starring roles in the film Take Me Home Tonight. In the end though, Anna became angry over fans' reactions to her split with Chris and the picture-perfect family image she tried her hardest to create that crumbled right before her eyes. At number 1, we have the world's least shocking couple to divorce to date, Miss Kim Kardashian and her rapping ex-husband Kanye West. With the spiral both their relationship and Kanye himself was headed into, it wasn't a shock to Kim Ye fans when the former celebrity couple decided to part ways. It seems non-shocking ends to marriages run deep in the Kardashian family too, as of course we need to honorably mention Khloe's failed marriage with her previous partner Lamar Odom. Still, Kim and Kanye have been dubbed as today's incoming split just bound to happen, according to fans and viewers of the Keeping Up with the Kardashian reality show. Apparently their fate was set in stone as far back as them tying the knot in 2014, according to many. Reportedly, the once powerhouse duo constantly butted heads in their later years due to their rising careers and demanding schedules. Words of Kim once stated, "He should have a wife that supports his every move and travels with him and does everything, and I can't." This was back during the series finale of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she cried during her confession. Ironically enough, Kim was also the one who filed for divorce back in February 2021. She later explained to Vogue that her reasoning for them separating was actually because she made the decision to put herself first. Quote, "Even if that created changes and caused my divorce, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about what really makes you happy." And while Kim Ye once held the title of star-crossed lovers in the beginning, Kanye is still intent on making their marriage work once more, even with Kim wanting to move on. Since then, Kanye had posted a number of direct Instagram uploads for Kim, with one stating, "God please bring our family back together," from a since deleted post. However, Kim seemed content with continuing forward, as she was soon romantically linked to and later confirmed to be dating her now ex-boyfriend Pete Davidson. I'm sure you know how these events have played out at this point, and if not, well, you're in for quite the wild ride.
And at number 10, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Everything about this couple was messy, from how they got together to how they split up. After a terrible and messy divorce from Jennifer Aniston, with plenty of cheating rumors flying around, Brad and Angelina basically confirmed that they were together only a month later. They then got married in 2014. The couple had a huge family with many children, growing their family to 6 kids, with 3 being their biological children. Then came their separation, where cheating rumors started swirling. Then came the divorce, which came only 2 years after they got married. One of the messiest revelations in the divorce was that Pitt may have gotten physical with their oldest child, Maddox, while he was drunk. But the LA Department of Children and Family Services later cleared him of all charges. Then they had many legal fights about money, where Jolie claimed that Pitt hadn't, quote, paid any meaningful child support since they split. But then it came out that Pitt had paid over $1.3 million and even loaned her $8 million at one point. In at number 9, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. The marriage between these two have generated rumors for years. More specifically, Tom's relationship to Scientology and how Katie fit into that world. Eyebrows were raised after the couple divorced in July of 2012, 6 years after being together. Throughout the relationship, many speculated as to how real it actually was, with rumors swirling that there was a lot of fakeness in the marriage. Then when the couple got divorced, they finalized everything in just 11 days, which I think is a celebrity record. Many think this was a testament to just how ironclad the prenup they signed was. And apparently a big part of the reason for the divorce was that the couple could not decide on how to raise their daughter Suri. Tom wanted her raised with Scientology, however Katie did not want it to be exclusively Scientology. In at number 8, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter. The relationship between these two have been discussed in tabloids for years, with many people exposing Kevin over the years for cheating on Wendy. The talk show host filed from divorce from the TV producer in April of 2019 after almost 22 years of marriage. This came after it was revealed that Kevin Hunter got his mistress pregnant. Wendy spoke about the divorce in an interview where she said, quote, Kevin had a major indiscretion and he will have to deal with that for the rest of his life. An indiscretion that I will not deal with. Never thought that I would be in this position. The divorce has not only been hard on Wendy, but sadly on their son as well, Kevin Hunter Jr. In at number 7, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You guys already know about this train wreck, but I will sum it up for those of you that don't. Depp and Heard first met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, which they starred in together. They married in 2015 in a private ceremony, but Heard filed for divorce only a year later after publicly accusing Johnny Depp of harming her. In the years that followed, the two were embroiled in a multi-year court battle that exposed tons of things about the relationship. Firstly, we learned that Amber had been verbally and physically harmful to Johnny in their relationship, which raised tons of questions about the legitimacy of her accusations. Then we learned that she would do insane things to test Johnny's temper, like once where she defecated in their bed, which the maid found later. Sadly, as of now, it seems that Amber is winning all their battles in court, but hopefully the truth will come out. And at number 6, Kristen Cavallari and Jay Cutler. Cavallari and Cutler announced their plans to separate via Instagram in April 2020 after marrying in 2013. Cutler listed their date of separation as April 21st of 2020, while Cavallari stated that their relationship ended on April 7th, which made the legal proceedings even more drawn out. The split seemed like it was nasty from the start, but things got worse when Cavallari accused Cutler of, quote, inappropriate marital conduct in the divorce filing, aka cheating. Then Cutler requested joint custody of their kids while Cavallari wanted sole custody. During the messy divorce, a source said, quote, the word around Nashville is that they really just don't like each other anymore. They would accuse each other of cheating, but nothing really solid. They were both very stubborn and bump heads a lot. Neither backs down. And apparently before the split, the two were fighting often. Halfway at number 5, Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. The pair started their love story in 2005 at the Teen Choice Awards where they met. 3 years later, he starred in her music video, Bye Bye, and they got together quickly after. They married in 2008 and welcomed twins together in 2011, named Monroe and Moroccan. Fans were shocked in 2014 when they announced that they were divorcing. TMZ reported that Cannon filed for divorce, leaving fans everywhere wondering what went wrong. It was revealed after that they were living separate lives for months before the news came out. Cannon later revealed in an interview with Wendy Williams, quote, I feel like when two people are in a relationship, it should be about growth. So when you are at a point where there's no longer any growth and you're not bettering each other, I felt like it was probably best, especially for our children. There were reports that the divorce was pretty messy, but thankfully they have been cordial ever since and are co-parenting beautifully. In at number 4, Yolanda Foster and David Foster. If any of you guys watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know what a mess this relationship was. The pair tied the knot in November of 2011, and from what we saw on the show, Yolanda was a loving and caring wife who put her husband first. She was even criticized on the show for how much she did for David. However, in early 2012, she was diagnosed with Lyme disease and was not herself for many years after, with the disease taking a toll on her physical and mental capacity. In 2015, the couple divorced, and Yolanda revealed on the show how blindsided that she was by everything, with her speaking openly about how she believes her medical condition was the reason for the split. One source from David's camp said after, quote, "David and his family think Yolanda just loved the attention of being sick. They believe she's exaggerating her conditions, and they point out that she's never gotten a legit diagnosis or a second or third opinion." And at number 3, Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards. The couple first met while shooting the movie Good Advice in 2000, but they started dating later after Denise guest starred on Charlie's sitcom Spin City in 2001. They got married in June of 2002, but by 2005, they had split. Denise filed for divorce while Charlie was struggling with drug and alcohol issues, and the divorce was plastered all over the tabloids because of Charlie's reckless behavior at the time. Denise opened up about how hard the divorce was while she was a housewife on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, saying, quote, "A lot of people have an impression of me being wild and crazy, but Charlie was sober when we got married. So we were not this swinging couple that people might assume." Adding, quote, "When I got pregnant with Lola, things started to change rapidly. It was a very dark time and very toxic, and I filed for divorce when I was 6 months pregnant with her. But thankfully, the pair have a good relationship now." And at number 2, Jessica Simpson and Nick Leahy. Jessica and Nick were the it couple of the early 2000s. They got married in 2002 after 3 years of dating and showcased their short-lived marriage on a reality TV show before it quickly ended in 2006. The show was called Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica. Leahy even admitted on the show that they didn't know much about each other when they got married, and they would clash over things in the show constantly. And by the 3rd and final season, it was pretty much clear that they were going to be breaking up. Nick said about the show after, quote, "It was among the dumber ideas I think I've ever seen executed. It got to a place where it was so invasive, so it became a problem." And at number 1, Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Phillippe. These two got together and had children when they were really young. They met at Reese's 21st birthday party and they got engaged shortly after. The pair got married in 1999 and Reese got pregnant before their wedding as well. In 2002, the couple started having problems and went to couples therapy to try and fix it. But when that didn't work, they divorced in 2006. The couple admitted their age was a huge factor in the split. In 2017, Reese spoke on the split, saying, quote, "I got married when I was 23 and I had 2 kids by the time I was 27. So I don't know, sometimes it's good to know yourself." She says that she would not change things, but she now tells her daughter that 25 is when you really start to know yourself.
The documentary will serve as a new source of information on the split that took over 2 years to finalize. While some of the info seen will have already been a part of the revived docu-series on Kim's family, the Kardashians, there will be plenty of new info from friends, family, and co-workers that will reveal what really went down behind the scenes. So let's break down the relationship between these two, where things started to go wrong, how they met, and of course, who've they been with since. The origins of Kim Ye. The couple first met in 2003 at a rap party for that season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kanye was working on a song with fellow musician Brandy at the time. Seeing as Kim was one of her closest friends, she asked if her buddy Ye could tag along. While their first meeting was no fairy tale, they did eventually spark a romance around 2012. At that time, Kim was dating a man named Chris Humphries, who she eventually married for 72 days. Yes, I said days. Apparently during her time with Humphries, she realized that she had a stronger connection with Ye and dropped Chris to pursue that. They first took their relationship public in April of 2012, and that year Ye had released Cold, which name dropped Kim in his lyrics. And I'll admit I had fell in love with Kim around the same time she fell in love with him. From there things moved fast. After a whirlwind romance, US confirmed in December 2012 that Kardashian was pregnant with their first child. West celebrated the news at the time by referring to the E-star as his baby mama on stage at his Atlantic City concert. 4 months after becoming parents, Kanye popped the question in front of Kim's family and friends in San Francisco's Giants baseball stadium, which was the cheesiest way to propose on the planet. It's a good way to do it, but come on, Kanye, you couldn't have spelled the message out in the sand on a private beach or something? By 2016, the couple had begun to raise 2 of their 4 kids, and while they seemed like a strong family unit on the outside, the reality was that they were facing marital problems left and right. In November of that year, Kanye was admitted to the hospital thinking that he was just extremely extremely fatigued, but it turned out that he was actually suffering some kind of a psychological crisis, according to the fire department, who were called by Kanye's doctor. It turns out that his St. Pablo tour was filled with odd behavior and outlandish outbursts. During one particular situation at one of his scheduled shows in Sacramento, he took to the stage and delivered a long, meandering speech criticizing friends and associates in the music industry, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, while simultaneously praising Donald Trump for his communication styles. He then ended that concert short after only performing a few songs. 2 nights before that in San Jose, he said that he would have supported Donald Trump if he voted in the elections, and he asked the crowd what they believed in, and when nobody responded, he shouted at them that he was putting his life, his career, his public well-standing at risk, everything, when he's speaking to us like this, claiming that he was delivering the truth. While 2016 was a rough one for Mr. Yee, 2018 was so much worse. Despite claiming that he would begin seeing a counselor to help manage his emotions, Kanye wound up doubling down on his outlandish behavior by posting a series of tweets and rants online that were just fueled with racism and anti-Semitism, and just claims that the world was trying to push an agenda on him. Now, I can't verbally quote the things that he said or show the tweets without being shut down immediately, so if you're really curious about the tweets, make sure you check out the documentary. His tweets weren't the only concerning behavior starting to loom overhead. According to testimonies from friends as well as Kim herself, Kanye had become a stricter father the closer that they had gotten to 2020. Now with 4 kids, it felt like he was under some kind of pressure and he was unable to manage the emotions that he had without putting the blame on the family unit. According to Kim, Kanye went so far as to remove the TVs from all rooms in the house and removing makeup from their daughter North's bedroom. In April of 2020, while he was being named a bona fide billionaire by Forbes magazine, it turns out that he had been neglecting his family entirely, focusing on music rather than the actual family unit. But 2020 would end up being the most unhinged year of this dude's life. In summer 2020, Kanye announced his presidential campaign, planning to run alongside Donald Trump, so that he could at least get closer to the guy if he wasn't elected, you know? Unfortunately, he had to be one of those political figures with zero filter. He shared personal details about his family during his first rally in South Carolina, claiming that he almost ended daughter North's life before she was even born. Hey man, why can't you keep that to yourself? The last nicest thing he ever did for his wife was buy a ghost. Yeah, this man purchased and developed a lifelike holographic reprint of Kim's late dad, and she thought it was awesome, but hey, that's a dead guy. About a month later, behind the scenes, the couple started arguing constantly and were living completely separate lives, according to Kim. While it may have taken a while, she finally caved and filed for a divorce in January of 2021. The split. While the papers were filed in 2021, they actually were not finalized until November of 2022. In between A and B, Kanye fought hard to get his wife back, going through over 10 lawyers before finally landing on the right team. And at one point, he even declared his intention to woo her back after seeing several photos of herself and Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson. The two had met while Kim was hosting an episode of the show, and the writers cast herself and Pete to star as Jasmine and Aladdin in a sketch that forced them to hold hands and touch face. It turns out that Pete was acting as Kim's rebound, as well as her scene partner. They were spotted together several times over the course of a few months before publicly calling it quits in 2022. While Kim and Pete were together, Kanye was hard at work hatching a plot to get his wife and his kids back that ultimately went nowhere. No matter what Kim did, it seemed like Kanye was right there to tell her why it was dumb. Kim wrote via Twitter that her ex constantly coming at her were making a healthy and supportive co-parenting relationship impossible. In fact, as part of one of her main parenting duties, Kim has to actively keep her kids from seeing comments online posted by their father. She claims that this is in an effort to keep the image of their dad clean. The last thing she would want for the family unit is her kids asking why daddy posted a funny symbol online. With the finalization of their divorce, each were granted joint custody of their kids, and Kanye would be made to pay $200,000 a month in child support, as well as pay for 50% of their kids' educational and security costs. But the documentary revealed that there was much more at stake than just the family unit. Kim and Kanye were fighting over properties from around the world, multi-million-dollar shares in equity of multiple different businesses. But the biggest and probably most obvious confirmation from this documentary is that the relationship that we were being presented with was a lie. They seemed like some happy family unit on the outside, when in reality Kim was living with a very toxic man who had little to no control over his personal emotions. The subtle disses and racist tweets weren't some weird phase or reaction to a situation, they were real feelings that Kanye needed to express. He needed to tell fans at his show about his daughter. He needed to tell us what he was going to do to Jewish people. What he really needed to shut up and just get what was coming to him. The aftermath of the split was magical. Kanye lost all of his sponsorship deals, his music sales have dropped drastically, and the only women that he seems to attract are Kim Kardashian lookalikes. The verdict. With the release of Kim vs. Kanye, the divorce, the world is being given a new insight to what was the most powerful couple in the world. The truth will be revealed and both sides of the story will be shared.